Hi guys, so welcome to Unacademy and this session on the ozone layer depletion. We'll just wait for a few minutes for a few people to join in. Please send in a hi if you're attending the session live, alright? I'll be able to access your comments. I will also be taking your queries. If you have any doubts regarding UPSC preparation in general, any doubts regarding environment and ecology, this would be the time to ask me any such doubts. If you want to ask me anything, अगर आपको कुछ भी पूछना है तो आप अभी पूछ लो. Then we'll begin with the topic that is going to be ozone layer depletion. Alright, so now let's get going and let's talk about the topic that we have at hand here, that is ozone layer depletion. So first and foremost, I am pretty sure you guys would know what ozone layer is. So ozone is an allotrope of oxygen which has 3 atoms of oxygen instead of 2, right? So O2 is oxygen, O3 is ozone, right? So ozone gas forms a protective layer in the in one of the layers of the atmosphere, that is your stratosphere, right? So ozone forms a protective layer in the stratosphere. Alright, now there are 2 kinds of ozone that we have, tropospheric ozone and then we have stratospheric ozone, right? Tropospheric ozone is the ozone that is found in the atmosphere in the troposphere, right? That is the layer that is the closest to the earth, right? Tropospheric ozone is not good. It causes a lot of global warming. So it is also termed as the bad ozone. On the contrary, the ozone that is found in the stratosphere is termed as the good ozone, right? Now, this ozone layer that is in the atmosphere, in the stratosphere, is the good ozone because of the fact that it is protective. So, reading out the third point as pointed here, the ozone layer in the stratosphere protects the earth from the harmful radiations of the sun. Alright, that's the purpose here. It is very important and very critical to the existence of life forms on earth, right? So that is basically the main function of the ozone layer in the stratosphere. Now, why is it important? Because it will be filtering the harmful UV radiations that are coming from the the sun towards the earth. Because had it not been for the ozone layer here, highly ionizing radiations would have made it to the earth's troposphere and then would have affected everybody living in the living on the earth, right? So highly ionizing radiations are basically responsible for various kinds of melanomas, that is skin cancers. A lot of cataract issues develop. A lot of other genetic anomalies are bound to occur, right? So that is how the ozone layer being in the stratosphere is a very important layer. It protects the earth from all the harmful radiations and it is very important and critical to the existence of life forms on earth, right? So that is basically the function of your ozone layer. Furthermore, pollutants like chlorofluorocarbons, oxides of nitrogen and hydrocarbons cause the depletion of the ozone layer, right? So जैसे जैसे आपके ये क्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन्स बढ़ते हैं या नाइट्रोजन ऑक्साइड ज़्यादा होते हैं एटमॉस्फेयर में, ओजोन लेयर जो है वो धीरे धीरे डिप्लीट होती है. This phenomenon of gradual depletion of the protective ozone layer in the stratosphere is termed as ozone layer depletion. तो जैसे जैसे ozone layer जो है आपकी वो it is affected by various chemical substances and others and उसकी जो thickness है वो कम होती है, that is termed as ozone layer depletion. Alright. Now we speak about the cause of ozone layer depletion. So why is it that the ozone layer is depleted? Very important to note that ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है. So let's understand the Chapman mechanism first, जिससे ozone बनती है. Then I will explain कि हो क्या रहा है. So when you look at the picture given alongside, which has steps 1 and 2, that is the Chapman mechanism for the formation of ozone, right? So we have two oxygen molecules that are there. Once the ultraviolet light passes through them, it breaks into free atoms. So it breaks up into atomic oxygen. So पहले हमारे पास molecular oxygen है, it breaks up into atomic oxygen. Now when these two oxygen atoms are basically going to, now then we have another oxygen molecule. ठीक है? तो जब एक ऑक्सीजन एटम एक ऑक्सीजन मॉलिक्यूल से आके मिलता है, it will lead to the formation of ozone. So this is how ozone is formed in the atmosphere. Now just read the first point first. It says the equilibrium between the formation and destruction of ozone has been upset by the influx of several substances like chlorofluorocarbons, hydrochlorofluorocarbons, etc. into the atmosphere, which react with ozone and destroy it. Now there is a reaction that basically takes place with the halogens or the chlorides, the fluorides that are present, and उस वजह से क्या होता है, it breaks down the ozone molecule. Just look at the diagram given beneath the upper one. So the second diagram that has chlorine and oxygen labeled in it. So it says once a chloride free radical goes and attacks or attaches to an ozone molecule in the influence of sunlight, it leads to the formation of an oxygen molecule and a chlorine oxide. ठीक है, तो इससे क्या हुआ, जो ओजोन का आपके अर्थ के लाइक स्ट्रेटोस्फीयर में concentration था वो कम हो जाएगा, right? So that happens and the concentration of ozone will go on depleting, right? Now furthermore, happens a chlorine oxide attaches. Alright, so what happens because of that is that हमने नेट रिजल्ट अगर देखा तो हुआ क्या है, यहाँ पर शुरू में एक क्लोरीन फ्री रेडिकल था, लास्ट में भी एक क्लोरीन फ्री रेडिकल निकल के आ गया. सो व्हाट हैपेंस बिकॉज ऑफ दैट इज कि पूरे प्रोसेस में जो हुआ आपका ओजोन मॉलिक्यूल जो है दैट गॉट डिप्लीटेड. सो ओजोन मॉलिक्यूल जो है वो टूट गया और क्लोरीन के फ्री रेडिकल्स रिमेन द सेम. सो शुरू में भी एक क्लोरीन फ्री रेडिकल आ गया था, लास्ट में भी एक क्लोरीन फ्री रेडिकल रह गया. उससे क्या हुआ, जैसे जैसे क्लोराइड रेडिकल प्रेजेंट होगा इट विल बी रिएक्टिंग विद एवरीथिंग, राइट? इट विल कॉज अ प्रॉब्लम. Now, so the rate at which ozone is being destroyed because of all of this, so the rate at which ozone is being destroyed is far much more than the rate at which it is being produced. तो अगर destruction का rate ज़्यादा है और production का rate कम है, obviously there is going to be a decline. Right? So that is why there is a decline in the production of ozone there. Now this results in the significant decrease in a concentration of ozone in a particular region and hence ozone holes are formed. ठीक है, सो इस वजह से होता क्या है, बिकॉज ये जो ऑक्सीजन का और ओजोन का पूरा बैलेंस है ये मेंटेन नहीं होगा, देयर विल बी अ डेफिसिट ऑफ ओजोन दैट विल बी वेरी वेरी लाइक प्रिडोमिनेंटली सो क्रिएटेड. सो उसकी वजह से क्या होता है, उसकी वजह से ये हो जाता है कि वी डोंट रियलाइज इट दैट मच, बट जहाँ पर ये एकदम से कम होने लग जाएगा, लाइक देयर विल बी अ पॉजिटिव और देयर विल बी अ डिक्लाइन और डिक्रीज, तो उस वजह से क्या होगा वहाँ पर, what we will be noticing is that an ozone hole will begin to develop. Now once the ozone hole begins to develop in this area over here, शुरू में तो कम रहेगा पर धीरे धीरे कर कर वो बड़ा होगा. The ozone hole will increase. Now as and when the ozone hole will increase, what will happen? The ozone layer will have imperfections, the ozone hole will get bigger and the like the entire area, what will happen is that पूरे area में छोटी छोटी जगहों पर जो है आपके ओजोन के holes create हो जाएंगे, right? So that is what happens over here. Now just looking at the mechanism of ozone layer depletion yet again. So as you can see, there is a CFC molecule, right? Now once the UV radiation passes through it, a chloride radical will be separated out of it. That is step 1. Under step 2, what happens? The free chlorine atom hits on ozone molecule, right? It will be hitting on an ozone molecule. Now once it will be hitting on the ozone molecule, what will happen as a result of that is a chloride radical will go and pull, because of its high electronegativity, it will pull one of the oxygen molecules toward, like atoms out of the molecule towards it, and it will break the molecular ozone, and what will we get? We'll get chlorine oxide, that is chlorine monoxide, and an oxygen molecule. ठीक है? फिर क्या आता है? Free oxygen from the stratosphere is there, so we have ClO along with it. So free oxygen atom जो आपके पास आ गया, वो जाकर उसके साथ react करेगा, और फिर क्या होगा? A chlorine monoxide molecule में से chlorine free radical will be released and an oxygen molecule will be there, right? So repeating the step 1 में क्या होता है? UV causes, or the UV radiation causes the chlorine atom to break away from the CFC molecule. The second step, what happens is the free chlorine atom hits an ozone molecule. In the third step, the chlorine atom pulls one oxygen atom away. In the fourth step, a free oxygen atom hits the chlorine monoxide molecule. In the fifth step, the result is another free chlorine atom. And the sixth step, free chlorine will continue to deplete ozone in the stratosphere. ठीक है? So that is how the entire reaction basically follows suit over here. Alright, so that is how it goes on. Alright. Now going on further, let's talk about what? Let's talk about the next step over here. So after this, what is going to happen is, like what happens as a result of all of this? Can anybody tell me? क्या होगा? So what will happen because of all of this over here is that when we get to this, तो पूरे में हमने नेट रिजल्ट क्या देखा? नेट रिजल्ट ये हुआ कि जो आपका पूरा क्लोरीन का और क्लोरीन को छोड़ो, जो आपका ओजोन का एटमॉस्फेयर में बैलेंस था, दैट विल बी अपसेट. Why will it be upset? It will be upset because of the fact जितनी ओजोन बननी चाहिए वो बन नहीं रही है, और जो ओजोन है भी, that is going to be depleted, वो डिक्रीज हुए जा रही है, right? So as and when it is going to decrease, what will happen is, तो उससे क्या होगा? उससे ये होगा कि जो आपका ओजोन क्रिएशन है, ओजोन जनरेशन है, that will not be at par or within the same pace that it should be, right? So that is how this problem will be created over here, right? So this deficit in ozone that is created in the atmosphere, this leads to the formation of what? This leads to the formation of an ozone hole, and that is how the ozone hole generates, right? That is about it. Now we speak about the major pollutants when it comes to the ozone depleting substances. तो क्या क्या है वो चीज़ें जिनकी वजह से which are acting as major ozone layer pollutants? We have chlorofluorocarbons, we have nitrogen oxides, we have hydrocarbons. So these are majorly or primarily the pollutants or the substances which cause the depletion of ozone layer, right? So that is about it. So chlorofluorocarbons, nitrogen oxides and hydrocarbons are largely responsible, or are the substances or materials that are responsible when it comes to the depletion of ozone layer, right? So that is about it over here. Is it clear? Now let's come to the discussion regarding the ozone hole. Ozone hole क्या हुआ? So it was basically discovered a few years ago. So the best example of ozone hole in the atmosphere is the one over Antarctica, which has only about 50% of the ozone that originally existed there. ठीक है? The atmosphere, or rather the temperature over there, is highly conducive of the same. So when we talk about it, the temperature at South Pole is lower than that at the North Pole, right? Also there is this phenomenon that is known as a polar vortex. Okay, so it is basically a polar cyclone that is there. So the polar vortex is also more strong at the Antarctic circle as compared to the Arctic circle. So when we talk about the region or the continent of Antarctica, the polar vortex is going to be more profound there. It will be stronger. Now because the polar vortex is going to be more profound, it will have a better or a higher say for instance what, it will have more of cyclonic disturbances, it will have more polar stratospheric clouds, which will further be aiding the process of ozone depletion, because they will act as surfaces for the various kind of chlorine or other free radicals to react and break down the ozone layer. Okay? So the temperature at South Pole is lower than that at the North Pole. During winter, the temperature at South Pole comes down to minus 40 degrees Celsius. The low temperature helps in the formation of ice crystals. HCl gas in the presence of ice crystals breaks into chlorine molecule, and this then dissociates into chlorine atom, which reacts with ozone. Alright. Now the extreme cold at the South Pole helps in forming ice crystals to facilitate the reaction, right? So that is one of the important things that happens over here. Now talking about the effects of ozone layer depletion. Depletion of the ozone layer, what will it do? It will lead to the various disastrous effects will be there. So depletion of the ozone layer would result in an increase in the ultraviolet radiations reaching the Earth's surface, causing direct as well as indirect effects. Obviously, I've already told you that the ozone layer acts as a sieve. It filters out the various things coming to the coming into the Earth's atmosphere. So जैसे ही आपकी harmful UV radiations होती हैं जो, they are not all of them are allowed to reach the Earth's surface. Most of them are filtered out. अगर वो filtered नहीं होंगी, the harmful radiations will also come to the Earth's surface, right? So that is what happens, right? So ozone is very, very important because it will be acting in the capacity of a protective layer, which is responsible for sieving, or rather removing the harmful radiations that enter the Earth's surface, right? Now talking about the direct effects of the depletion of ozone layer, क्या क्या चीजें होंगी? सबसे पहले, the ozone absorbs heat from the sun, which results in increase of temperature in the stratosphere. सबसे पहले. Then the reduction in ozone would lead to temperature changes and rainfall failures on the Earth, right? Then what happens next in furtherance to this is, talking about the direct effects only 1% reduction in ozone, just a mere 1% reduction in ozone increases the influx of UV radiation reaching on the Earth by about 2%. Alright, it further leads to harmful effects like reduction in immunity, increase in the incidence of cancers and cataracts, also genetic disorders. Why are genetic disorders going to be set forth or being increased? Because of it is various kinds of ionizing radiations will be there. जितनी ज़्यादा ionizing radiations होंगी, right? So जितनी ज़्यादा ionizing radiations will be there, उसकी वजह से क्या होता है? Genetic disorders can be triggered. How can genetic disorders be triggered? Because as and when the ionizing or the very highly strong and ionizing radiations reach the Earth's surface, what will they do? They will basically attack the DNA of various organisms. Because they are highly ionizing, they're highly energetic. So because of that, what happens is those particular radiations will have a very strong impact on the people over here. Not even just people, but also various kinds of animals, various kinds of plants, right? It will be impacting all of it. Now, as and when it will be impacting all of those things, what happens is it will not be healthy, it will not be good. So जितने organisms, जितनी चीजें इससे affect होंगी या इससे impact होंगी, they will obviously have certain kind of genetic disorders that will be there, right? So that is exactly what happens in furtherance to this thing over here, right? Is it clear to everybody? बात समझ में आई? Alright, so that is how it rolls over here. So that is how the highly ionizing radiations are not good, and it is important for them to be sieved, right? Now we don't only have direct effects, we also have certain indirect effects that come to it, right? So when we speak about the indirect effects, what do we have? So when we speak about the indirect effects, they will have what? They will have reduction in plant growth, right? So we will have a significant reduction in plant growth. Furthermore, there will be reduction in chlorophyll content of plants, right? That is going to be another aspect to it. तो chlorophyll भी कम होगी. उसके बाद में क्या होगा? Once the chlorophyll is also decreasing, a lot of mutations will increase. So mutations will also increase as a result of the same. So what will it lead to? It will lead to the increase in mutations, right? So that is about it. So वो एक problem होगी. Then what happens? Disturbance in ecological balance, right? So the ecological balance will also be disturbed or disrupted in this particular way, right? So that is also one of the problems that we have in this over here, all right? Alright, now since we've read about or we've learned the various indirect effects of the same, let's get to talking about the other things. So now when we speak about the various efforts to check ozone depletion, what all do we have at our hand, right? Now numerous international programs have been taken up in order to reduce the chlorofluorocarbon production, right? Now alternative technologies like ice cleaning, which is a semiconductor washing device which uses frozen alcohol and ice at temperatures below minus 550 degrees Celsius, which is used to blow off dust, and phase out schedules are also helpful. As you would already know, the chlorofluorocarbons are like, they are used as coolants, they are used as cleaning agents, right? So the better alternative here would be to find a particular alternative to it which will be less polluting, right? So anything which is going to be less polluting will not cause the similar amount of damage as what we are actually looking forward to, right? So if we use other semiconductor washing and cleaning devices which might be using frozen alcohol or temperatures below minus 50, so all of those things will be very, very good in this respect, right? Then we get to the next thing, that is going to be international programs. So various international programs and different kinds of legislations have been enacted in this particular respect, right? So we have the Vienna Conference, we have the Montreal Protocol, we have the Saving the Ozone Layer Conference, we have the Helsinki Conference to that. So talking about the Vienna Conference, it was the first global conference to discuss the phenomenon, held in Vienna in Austria in 1985, when the ozone hole was first discovered. Then we have the Montreal Protocol, which was held in the year 1987. Developed countries decided to reduce the chlorofluorocarbon production step by step, assured to provide assistance in switching to alternative technologies to developing countries, right? Then Saving the Ozone Layer Conference is also one of it, which was held in London in the year 1989. It was organized by the British government and the UNEP. It stressed the final withdrawal of all ozone depleting substances, right? So it was emphasized over there that all the ozone depleting substances should be withdrawn finally. They should not be made use of, in order to make sure that the damage that they are causing to the external environment can be minimized or reduced to as far as possible. Okay? Then we have the Helsinki Conference, which was held in May 1989. It was basically done to revise the Montreal Protocol, which is an agreement on eliminating the chlorofluorocarbons, right? So that was all about it over here. Okay? So that was about it. Now when we talk about other things over here, so these were the major things or the major decisions that were taken, or the major protocols or various kinds of international programs that were in place, because of these kind of programs there was an awakening, there was a message that was sent out to the world which emphasized on the fact that we need to protect the ozone layer. We have to take certain steps and measures where the various substances that are depleting the ozone layer are regulated, and it is all accounted for properly, right? Now we talk about the next phenomenon here, which is going to be the greenhouse effect. Now all of you would have studied about the greenhouse effect in school, and you must have a basic understanding of the same, right? So that is the greenhouse effect here. All right, just give me a moment. I'll give you all 2 minutes to quickly see as to what we have covered in the ozone layer. अगर कोई doubt है तो you can ask me right now. In case you guys have any doubts, please let me know right away. I'm waiting for your comments. अगर doubt नहीं भी है तो भी बता दो. Alright, so I guess you guys have got no doubts. So let's continue with the topic discussion here. Now, when we speak about the greenhouse effect, what is the greenhouse effect? You must have seen in cold countries or in cold areas, what happens is people build certain glass shelters wherein they grow plants, right? Why do they do it? Because in case they grow in plants over there inside those glass shelters, what happens is that these people are able to, or they are allowed to basically do what? They are allowed to grow different kinds of fruits and vegetables over there, right? So that is one of the reasons or one of the contentions to do the same, right? So what is the greenhouse? The greenhouse is basically a place or a glass casing that is there inside which people grow various kinds of plants, right? So the greenhouse effect which is there is a naturally occurring phenomenon which is responsible for maintaining a temperature suitable enough to sustain life, right? So in the absence of the naturally occurring greenhouse effect which is there on earth, it would have been very difficult to support life on earth, right? So in the absence of naturally occurring greenhouse effect, the average temperature of the earth's surface would be way below the normal, right? तो अर्थ जो है आपकी बहुत ठंडी हो जाती. A greenhouse is basically a building made up of glass in which plants are grown in cold countries. ठीक है, तो cold countries में वहाँ क्या करते हैं? Plants are grown. The temperature inside the glass house is suitable and hence sustains plant life, right? Also, even when the frost conditions are prevailing in the outside environment, right? So that is about it over here. Okay, so that is about the greenhouse effect, right? So that is how it is done. So if you look at the picture given alongside, what happens? Visible energy from the sun passes through the glass. तो जो solar radiation है, visible energy है, वो glass से आएगी. But वापस जब reflect होने की बारी आएगी, तो कुछ part जो है वो वहीं पर retain हो जाएगा, कुछ part जो है वो वापस चला जाएगा, right? So that is how it basically rolls, alright? Now, when we speak about the greenhouse effect with respect to the earth, so there are two phenomena that are there or that take place with respect to it. There is natural greenhouse effect and then we have human enhanced greenhouse effect. When we speak of the natural greenhouse effect, what happens is, like, it is mandatory or absolutely requisite for the earth to sustain life that greenhouse effect should be there, right? Why is it so? Because the greenhouse effect is a process caused by the greenhouse gases, which all gases are there, which occurs naturally in the atmosphere. This process plays a crucial role in warming the earth's surface and making it habitable, right? So when we speak about the natural greenhouse effect, what happens? The solar radiations comes in during the daytime and like they will be absorbed by the earth's atmosphere, the various greenhouse gases present over there. Then what happens in the evening, like most of the heat or like during the daytime also, there will be heat that will be re-radiated. वापस re-radiate होगी वो, right? उसमें क्या होगा? A part of it will escape into the space, which will be the major component or the major part. A little portion is going to be retained, which will be the less re-emitted heat. Alright? So that is how it rolls over here. So the greenhouse effect is a process caused by the greenhouse gases, which occurs naturally in the atmosphere. This process plays a crucial role in warming the earth's surface and making it habitable. अब अगर हम बोलें कि ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट और ग्रीन हाउस गैसेज आर नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट, नॉट रिक्वायर्ड, इट वुड बी रॉन्ग टू से सो, बिकॉज द प्रेजेंस ऑफ द ग्रीन हाउस गैसेज एंड द ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट इज वेरी वेरी क्रूशियल एंड वेरी वेरी important for life to sustain on earth. It is very very important. It's absolutely mandatory, right? But when we speak about the human enhanced greenhouse effect, that is something which is uncalled for. That is something which was not required. अब human enhanced greenhouse effect क्या हुआ या कैसे होता है? जैसे जैसे because of various human activities, the concentration of greenhouse gases increased on the earth's surface. That basically led to the human enhanced greenhouse effect, right? उसमें हुआ क्या, like what happened as a result of the same was that whatever amount of solar radiation was absorbed, most of it, like the majority portion, was re-emitted heat, which was like basically it was basically what retained by the earth, and a very little component of heat was the one that got to escape into space, right? So less of the heat, or a very minor amount of the heat, got to escape into the atmosphere or space, and a majority of it was retained on the earth, right? But like, why is this happened, or why is it a problem here, is that the human generated greenhouse gas emissions have disturbed the natural balance and have led to increased warmth, right? So this increased warmth, this heightened global temperatures, or these heightened global temperatures are referred to as the human enhanced greenhouse effect, right? So that is about it over here. So what happens, let's quickly have a look at it. The sun radiations come in, like the solar radiations come in, the earth absorbs a part of it, emits a part of it. जब तक वो normal quantity में absorb कर रही थी और majority को emit कर रही थी, that was a good thing, because in that situation what was happening, only a portion was being retained and majority of it was being sent back into space, right? But अब यहाँ क्या हो रहा है, because of the increase in the number of, or the amount of greenhouse gases, is that only a little portion, only a little bit of it is going to be retained, only a little bit of it is going to be re-emitted, and a majority portion is going to be retained. Now, as and when the majority is being retained over here, what is happening is that the amount of greenhouse gases that are there are increasing, right? So that is about it over here. So you can just take a moment to quickly read through it. In case you still have any doubts, let me know. Otherwise, we'll go on further with the discussion, right? Alright, so nobody said anything, so let's go on further now. Now let's talk about the problem of global warming. What is global warming? Global warming basically adheres to the average increase, importantly to the average increase in the temperature of the Earth's atmosphere near the Earth's surface. So जैसे जैसे it is going to increase, just जैसे the atmosphere is going to get warmer, what is it going to be termed as? What is it going to be known as? It is going to be known as global warming, right? So what is it? It adheres to the average increase in the temperature of the Earth's atmosphere near the Earth's surface, right? Which can contribute to changes like the global climate patterns and all those things, right? Generally, it is defined as the warming of the Earth's atmosphere as a result of increased greenhouse gas emissions, right? So that is with respect to global warming here, all right? Now let's quickly have a dig into the various major greenhouse gases as well. So the greenhouse gases absorb majority of the long wave radiations emitted from the Earth's surface, preventing it from escaping, and then re-emit this energy in all directions, warming the Earth's surface and lower atmosphere. ठीक है? The atmospheric concentration of these gases is significantly increased. So we know with the discovery of with the rampant usage of the fossil fuels, gases and all those things, also accompanied with like large scale urbanization, which was basically coupled with deforestation, all these things have been happening, right? So this increase has basically amplified the natural greenhouse effect by trapping more of energy emitted by the Earth, and hence has resulted in global warming, right? Then greenhouse gases are the constituents of atmosphere, both natural and anthropogenic, that absorb and re-emit the infrared radiation, leading to increased temperatures across the globe, right? When we speak about the major constituents of the greenhouse gases, what all do we have here? Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, chlorofluorocarbons and water vapor. Apart from these, इनके अलावा क्या क्या है? Ozone होता है, suspended particulate material है, fluorinated gases हैं. These are also the significant contributors. Right? Quickly read through this particular slide and then we'll go on further. Also, in case you have any doubts, let me know. I hope it is clear to everybody. All right. Alright, now going on further with the discussion, let's talk about the major greenhouse gases that are contributing to the same. Right? Now when we speak about the major greenhouse gases over here, what do we discuss about? First and foremost is carbon dioxide. You all must have read about that carbon dioxide is one of the major greenhouse gases that we have, right? So the primary source of carbon dioxide is the use of fossil fuels like coal, oil, petroleum, etc. Right? Now the secondary source is the oxidation of carbon compounds in marshes and forests by natural degradation, right? Then we have manufacture of cement, which is another major contributing factor, right? Then we speak about water vapor, which is present due to the evaporation process and is significantly increased due to an increased rate of evaporation, right? Then we speak about methane. So what happens with respect to methane is it can trap more efficiently or more effectively than your carbon dioxide, right? On oxidation as well, it gives rise to carbon dioxide and water vapor, which are both greenhouse gases, right? Also, speaking of methane, it has numerous sources like wetlands, paddy fields, ruminant cattle, termites from mining activities, oceans, etc. Right? So that is with respect to the various kinds of like the gases that we have with respect to like these ones here, right? Then we speak about chlorofluorocarbons. So जब ये बात chlorofluorocarbons की आती है, so when we speak about chlorofluorocarbons, they are used in foam aerosols, right? They are used where? They are used in foam aerosols. Also, they are used as solvents and also in air conditioners as well as coolants in refrigerators. Up to still it has reduced very like significantly. Earlier it used to be used those ways like very profoundly, right? So they are used in foam aerosols, solvents, air conditioners, refrigerators, etc. Now we come to furthermore the nitrous oxide and fluorinated gases. Now when we speak about nitrous oxide, इसमें क्या हो रहा है? It is more efficient than carbon dioxide when it causes or when it comes to causing global warming. It is produced by the burning of forests, grasslands and other biomass. Other sources being oceans, natural soil and nitrogenous fertilizers used in agriculture. Furthermore, automobile exhaust also contributes significantly to the emissions of nitrous oxide. Fluorinated gases में क्या आया? They are emitted through a variety of industrial processes such as aluminium and semiconductor manufacturing, even as a result of substitutes for chlorofluorocarbons. They are removed from the atmosphere only and only when they are destroyed by the sunlight in the upper atmosphere. They are the most potent and long-lasting type of greenhouse gases emitted by human activities. They have a very high global warming potential, and they include hydrofluorocarbons like coolants, fire extinguishers, industrial solvents. Even we have perfluorocarbons which are used in semiconductor devices and also in the perfume industry. What happens in that respect is like they are used as like the universal solvents kind of things that they are, right? So that is about it. Then we have sulfur hexafluoride. What about sulfur hexafluoride? It is used majorly in the semiconductor industry. It was also made use of significantly in the circuit breaker in like as the circuit breaker in electric transmission equipments, right? So वहाँ पर भी इसका use होता है, right? Now we go on further and we talk about the other greenhouse gases which are there, right? So these ones that we spoke about, that is carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane, chlorofluorocarbons, nitrous oxide and other fluorinated gases, they are primarily or very much there, right? But when we speak about others, we have the particulate pollutants also which have to be accounted for, right? Now when we speak about the particulate pollutants, what do we have here? We have things like black carbon, brown carbon, right? So when we speak about black carbon, it is commonly known as soot, right? Black carbon को हम लोग soot भी बोलते हैं. It is the tarry material that is released into the atmosphere, right? So that is what that is known as soot here, right? So commonly known as soot, it is the particulate air pollutant produced from incomplete combustion. So जब combustion पूरा नहीं होता, that is how black carbon is produced, right? Also, Project Surya has been undertaken by the government of India itself to reduce black carbon emissions by introducing efficient stove technologies, solar cookers, solar lamps and biogas plants in place of traditional burning activities, right? So that is about it. Also, when we speak about brown carbon, what do we have here? So it is basically the unidentified component of organic aerosol. ठीक है, क्या है वो? It is the unidentified component of organic aerosol, right? It comprises of tarry materials which are produced as a result of combustion. All right. So that is about the brown carbon portion over here. Now, particulate pollutants are also very important because जब भी हम लोग like AQI, that is the air quality index को भी compute करते हैं, we take particulate materials of the order like you would know PM10, PM2.5 also, they are accounted for there, right? So that is also something important that needs to be taken care of and taken into cognizance, right? So I hope you guys are also aware about the AQI that is computed by the CPCB, SUFFER and all these things. You would be aware of it, right? So that was about it. We also have another component that is known as global warming potential. Now, what is global warming potential? It adheres to, or it is basically a measure of the impact of each gas on global warming. तो हर एक gas कितनी global warming cause कर सकती है is known as global warming potential, right? So what do we do here? We take the global warming potential of carbon dioxide to be 1. उसको हम बेसिक लेके चलते हैं एंड वी कंपेयर एवरीथिंग विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दैट, राइट? सो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड का 1 है, मीथेन का कितना है? इट इज अबाउट 114. देन नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड का कितना है? मीथेन का 12 है. नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड का, दिस इज दैट लाइफ टाइम दैट आई एम स्पीकिंग अबाउट, राइट? सो अगर मैं 20 ईयर्स के टाइम उस पर उसका ग्लोबल वार्मिंग पोटेंशियल देखूँ, सो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड का अगर मैं 1 ले रही हूँ तो मीथेन का 72 है, नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड का 310 है, HFC 23 का 1200 है, HFC 134A का 3830 ईयर्स है, क्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन ऑर्डर 12 इज 11,000. Sulfur hexafluoride is the most dangerous. Why? Because it stays in the atmosphere for solid 3,200 years. Not just that, when we speak about it at a 20-year time scale, so it is going to be causing almost like 16,300 times more potency, or it is going to be 16,300 times more potent at causing the global warming as compared to your oxygen, not oxygen but carbon dioxide. So if I take the variable to be 1 for carbon dioxide, it is going to be a quantum of 16,300 times that which was taken for carbon dioxide, right? So that was about it. Now lastly we have to discuss the various impacts of global warming. So global warming कैसे होती है तो आपको पता चल गया. अब उससे होता क्या? Let's talk about it. So it changes the Earth's atmosphere, right? The temperature will be changed, various kind of rainfall patterns will be changed. So these kind of implications will be there. Furthermore, there's an increased occurrence of extreme events like heat waves will be there, floods will be there, hurricanes will be there, etc. Right? Also, there will be a predominant phenomenon of melting of ice caps and glaciers, right? That is another thing that's going to take place. Also, there is going to be a rise in sea level. Why will it be so? Because obviously, जैसे जैसे glaciers melt होंगे, sea level का water तो increase होगा. Then submergence of coastal areas, coral bleaching, spread of diseases and loss of biodiversity. So it basically is a chain of events that is triggered. Now this chain of events, what happens here is, like, this is what is basically responsible for causing the climate change as well. So if we read it, since if we just look at the chain over here, so what happens is combustion या burning of fossil fuels या wood से क्या होगा, the greenhouse gases that are going to be emitted, so the greenhouse gases that are going to be emitted will increase, right? So उससे क्या होता है, like combustion of, like what happens is combustion and burning of fossil fuels will be there, right? उसके साथ उससे क्या होगा, there will be an increased greenhouse gas emission that is going to be there, right? Then we will have global warming issues or global warming scenarios will come to the picture. Then what else is going to be there? We'll have changes in climate. Obviously, जितना ज़्यादा global warming होगा, the average temperature, or there will be significant changes there, right? Then what do we have? Melting of glaciers will start, ice caps will begin to melt. Then on, flooding will happen, there will be a rise in the sea level that is going to take place. इसके अलावा क्या होगा? There will be submergence of coastal areas, ये होगा. Then there will be destruction of ecosystem or habitat. तो ये, this is going to be another massive issue over here. So what happens is there will be destruction of ecosystem or habitat, right? then what else is going to happen? There will be extinction of species, right? So the species will also begin going extinct in this particular fashion over here, right? Now, since there is a delicate balance operational in nature, any change or disturbance of any sort, no matter what, any change, reading out the last para again, since there is a delicate balance operational in nature, any change or disturbance in any of the attributes that we have just spoken about here basically ultimately affects the others as well, right? So all of them are like closely related, all of them will be interconnected and impacted, right? So that will be all for the discussion over here today, guys. I hope you've understood the basic phenomenon with respect to like ozone layer depletion, global warming, and the various causes and all those things here, right? So I hope you guys are clear about it. I will see you guys again tomorrow in a session. So I hope you learned all the things very well here, and will also look forward to teaching you tomorrow. All right. See you guys later. Take care. Bye.